Well, Oren, it's lunchtime. And is that not? Is that? I liked that.
What was wrong with
that?
I thought that was good.
Well, Oren, it's lunchtime.
No, it was a combination.
We've come here to New Orleans City Park, where the ducks are very noisy.
That was the thing. It was a combination of the ducks and the professional cooking show voice that you have.
I could go into it in half a second.
I like it. It's like you're born to do this.
Well, Oren, it's lunchtime.
That's right, Nathan. And today we're making a meal at New Orleans City Park.
Okay. So we've come to New Orleans City Park because it's lunchtime and we're going to have a picnic together.
We're going to have a picnic.
And you have told me that it is possible to have a better lunch out here in City Park than I would normally have were it not for your presence.
Well, I think that that's right, and I hope that that's what we're going to do. Because what you told me is essentially that what you find yourself doing at the office is doing one of two things. Drinking a protein shake for lunch, or just going and spending a lot of money on like a vegetarian poke bowl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like $15 for a tofu bowl that clearly costs $2 to make. Because I just go to one of the restaurants or cafes around the office because it's quick, and I just have them. I just go, please make me something. Just feed me. Here's all my money. Just feed me.
Yeah, which is the good thing. But now you know, through the course of the show, we've been learning two things, right? One, feeding ourselves, and two, hi there, sir. And two, how to do that with sort of buying a bulk of ingredients and using them for a bunch of different meals.
Yes.
So what do you normally make when you do make lunch?
Well, I'll confess to you, Oren.
Tell me, Nathan.
I'll confess.
I'm unclear because we don't have the ingredients in front of me.
What the hell happened there? All the yogurt's gone.
Yeah, that happens.
Ew.
This is why you put the yogurt more securely on the table.
It's off camera. It didn't happen.
This is why it's called Cooking with Clumsies. Fuck no, that's not actually the name.
Not the title, because it embarrasses people. So, I'll tell you what I would normally eat for lunch.
Tell me, Nathan.
Normally, I would take a couple slices of bread. I would stick some cheese on the bread. I would stick some tomato on the cheese on the bread, and I would put that in my mouth. I would chew it, and that would be lunch, essentially.
And do you enjoy that?
Well, cheese is tasty.
Cheese is tasty.
Bread is okay.
Bread is okay.
A tomato is a fruit.
We're not going to get into that right now.
What? It is.
We had the whole debate on the Slack.
So it's a fruit sandwich.
I hate you. All right.
So it's a nice cheese and fruit sandwich.
So I think a cheese sandwich is actually fine. I like a good cheese sandwich, but some of the stuff we were talking about before that made the tacos good.
Yes.
Like acid, seasoning, and texture variation.
Yes. Okay.
Also make cheese sandwiches taste good. Now,
so
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a cheese sandwich with basically the same ingredients.
Yes.
But just do some things to them.
Okay.
Apply some of the techniques that you've already know.
Yes.
And then we'll see if it tastes better. If it doesn't, then you should make the old cheese sandwich that you make.
Normal boring lunch. We're going to take my normal boring lunch, and you feel like without changing what my normal boring lunch fundamentally is, we can actually make it even better in a small way.
Yeah, and that it won't take a ton of time. You'll enjoy it more. But if you don't, because this is an anarchist cooking show and it's up to you, then you should just eat the whole. You could just use the normal cheese sandwich, or you can take certain elements.
This is a very important principle, actually, that you have here that we keep reiterating throughout the program. Is that normally in cooking, a lot of people go like,
"You have to do this.
This is how you do it. If you do it this way, you're bad at cooking." Mm-hmm. And I just saw a meme, and the meme was like the things that bad cooks use, and it was like the lemon in the little plastic, and it was like salt that isn't like big flakes of salt, this little powdery salt. And they had reasons for this, but they had like a very clear view that like if you use these things, you are a bad cook.
See, and I think the point of this show is to say, what you should know if you want to use those things is what the difference could be.
Yeah.
And if your goal is to get something very, very lemony, you might want to use an actual lemon. But you don't need to. You're not morally bankrupt
if you use. Who go like, people who like their steaks well done, barbaric because it takes the flavor, and you're like, well,
the barbaric thing is eating a cow.
Yes, yeah, but you can say like, oh wow, okay, you lose something out of having the steak well done. But if that's what you like,
But also you might gain things on the other end. The whole point is you're supposed to just feed yourself and stay alive and have it taste good.
I find that sometimes, like, I confess there are things that I like a little burned, like a little bit burned.
Well, because char sometimes tastes good.
Like when cheese, I like to burn the cheese a little bit to make it crispy.
The only rule of this show is if it doesn't poison you,
then
it's not bad cooking.
Okay.
The only thing beyond there is you have to figure out what you like.
What do you like? And if you like it,
and if you like something different, then that's fine.
Then the world is your.
But you should do something. You should do things intentionally, at least.
So
cheese
sandwich.
Why don't you make a cheese sandwich your style?
Oh Jesus. Okay.
And I'll make a different cheese sandwich at the same time.
Okay.
More or less.
Okay.
And I say more or less at the same time because we're on a picnic, so we have one knife, we have one fork. So we're gonna have to switch off.
We're making do. We're making do.
You want to pass me our bread?
Yeah, you said we had to toast your sandwich. You wanted toasted bread.
Yeah,
so
I wanted toasted bread because I like a little bit of crunch. But if we were making this,
I would just. Yeah.
If we were making this
normally
at home,
I would not toast. I would have not toasted my bread. I would have just done this. And again,
if we were making this at home, you could toast at the same time that you were slicing everything else, so you can do it all kind of at the same time.
I hate that we're doing videos because I can actually picture people's comments on what I do in real time. Where I'm like, oh, people are going to say, oh, that's so ugly. What an ugly piece of shit that is. No one's going to like that.
Yeah, but that's what I think about myself all of the time, and yet I still eat. No, but the real thing is that's sort of the feeling that you get from watching other cooking shows anyway, right? They're not saying it about you, but they're basically saying if you don't do the thing perfectly.
Look at all the ugly shit you make, and then look at this beautiful thing I did because I'm a superior being who has skills, and you suck at cooking.
And the whole point is actually, whatever, you just need to eat.
Is there a better way to slice cheese than the way I'm slicing cheese? Not better, because we don't do value judgments here, but...
It depends what you want out of your cheese.
Fine, there's the cheese. It's on the side.
I like that you're still annoyed by even though you believe in the principle now, you're still annoyed
I believe in the principle, but it's an annoying principle because it requires... Some part of you wants...
some part of you wants authority? Is that what it is, Nathan?
I was going to say some part of you wants a little baby Stalin on your shoulder to say, like, here's what you have to do.
That if there's more democratic input, that you're able to actually actualize your desires and put civic input into the things that you're creating, then we're creating a better government.
Have you ever wondered why everyone hates anarchists and finds them annoying?
I've never wondered that in my life.
So my cheese sandwich...
I'm a process anarchist, too.
My cheese sandwich is done.
We're going to do the same thing as you, slice your cheese.
I just did that.
Yeah.
You're making the same sandwich I did.
Oh, that's what I said to you when we were doing.
I've already made this sandwich, and it's fine.
All right. So well, you said that you didn't love it.
It's fine.
All right. So we're gonna lay down our cheese like you did.
Like I did.
Do you want to cut us up some more tomato?
Delicious. Yeah, I'll cut you some more tomato.
Thank you.
Piece of fruit. You're
a real asshole today, aren't you?
No. What? What are you talking about? What, by accurately describing what a tomato is?
Yeah, pretty much. Can you also just grab me that little bag of spinach and a fork?
You mean this bag of spinach?
That bag of spinach, which we brought without planning to make this thing.
Okay, well, at a fork.
Yeah, I think we have a fork somewhere back there. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and I know that you're thinking this is taking a little bit more time, but we're actually prepping to make 2 dishes out of 1. Yes. And we'll get to the second dish.
See, my lunch, this is my entire lunch, basically, here.
We'll get to the second dish when...
Now, you're squeezing a lemon into a solo cup.
I am, because we didn't bring any bowls.
But it's a picnic. And as an anarchist, what is a bowl? A bowl is just a container. You can use anything, right?
I mean, yes. And also, it's fine to use a cup. Not all cups need to be bowls.
A cup is just a differently shaped bowl.
That's okay.
I'm just using your own
principles. I'm not that type of anarchist. So, like everything, we're adding what?
Salt and pepper. We're adding salt and pepper because they make things taste better. Now, I didn't put,
And do you want to add, so I'm going to put the tomatoes on here.
Yeah.
That you so beautifully cut.
They're very thick.
Do you want to add some salt and pepper to this?
Oh, to the sandwich itself.
So every layer we're just going to add seasoning to.
Okay.
And so in this cup are salt, pepper, oil, and lemon.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just mixing them up together.
Okay.
Until they look like a little bit creamy.
Until they look creamy.
All right. And so...
You said... Oh, okay. Salt and pepper. Oil, you said oil?
Yeah, a little bit of olive oil.
A little bit of oil. Or as they say here in New Orleans City Park, Earl.
They do say Earl. We burled.
Burled
the things.
We burl things in Earl.
So I'm gonna just add a little bit of our dressing that we just made.
Okay.
With lemon, oil, salt, and pepper.
That's a dressing. That's enough to make a...
Enough to make a dressing. And it adds acid and fat and all the kind of stuff that we like. So I'm just gonna put this on top.
Okay.
And this spinach has acid and then it has salt and pepper. So it's been dressed. Oh, it's falling all over the place, which is good.
Well,
I'm glad that we never shot this before. And
tomatoes are irregular.
And the last thing I want to add is something that we're also making for a future dish, because we can make all of our stuff ahead of time for a bunch of different dishes, which is in this cup I have yogurt and a little bit of lemon juice. And then we're also just going to add...
Is that the one we're going to add this guy to as well?
Yeah, do you want to add some? So I asked you what herbs you like.
Yes.
And you said that you really
And I said, no, I said, what's an herb?
Well, okay, after I explained what an herb was.
After we had a discussion about what that was.
And then I said, do you like mint? And then you said,
I said,
no,
I don't like mint.
So we were going to have mint in this, but we're not going to have mint.
We're not going to have mint because I don't like mint, and it's all about what you like.
Yeah.
So the fact that you don't like what I'm eating, I don't care. I don't care because it isn't
about how to think about what you might like.
Whether you like what I like. This is the point. We're going to make some food that you find ugly and that you wouldn't like to eat. But the whole point is not that you should make the food we're making. The point is that you should apply the principles that we are using, or that Oren is making me use.
That you hate.
To make your own things. So you might not use it. Your sandwich might be like a stacked multi-layer with a pile of ham.
Maybe not with a pile of ham.
I hope you don't need a pile of ham.
We're gonna use this little dressing, this yogurt thing later for another meal, and we're also gonna use this dressing for another thing in this meal.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna put this sandwich together, and there we go. I'm gonna just give us 2 halves.
Okay.
Oh, this knife is very dull.
I only use dull knives.
All right.
So wait, I'm gonna remember what having just cheese on bread was like. It was fine.
It's serviceable, and if you want to eat that, that's also okay.
Cheese is because like sourdough bread is nice and cheese is nice, but
that is a thing where like better ingredients make a better thing also.
Yeah.
But better ingredients are also dictated by what you actually think tastes better.
Now Oren has remade the sandwich, but what he has done is he has dressed some spinach.
We've salt and peppered the tomato.
We've salt and peppered the tomato.
We've toasted the bread.
We've toasted the bread. So let's see. There are more flavors in this.
To me, the biggest difference is actually the toasted bread.
The toasted bread makes a huge difference. The difference between soft, mushy, because everything in this is kind of mushy.
All right, cheese is mushy, bread is mushy, tomato is mushy.
Tomatoes are very mushy. So this is a pile of softness, right? It's like a peanut butter and jelly on Wonder Bread.
Right, which is fine.
Which is fine,
Very
but
serviceable.
If you toasted your bread and put peanut butter and jelly on it,
it'd be a little bit better.
Like it would be better because of the contrast between the toasted. Hang on.
I think there are things that a lot of people like things like contrast in flavor, things like contrast in texture, which is why these things work, which is why the salt, acid, fat, heat woman is right. But are you just liking that sandwich?
It's a really tasty sandwich, actually. Even though, right, like, I'm boring. I'm a vegetarian, so I just eat like a cheese sandwich, and it really is a boring thing to eat. It is not a fancy thing to eat. I look up recipes online, or what can I eat for lunch as a vegetarian? They're all like, make this bowl with all
whole
this
thing,
all this, and I go, well, yeah, okay, but I just like a cheese sandwich. But what you've done here is shown that in a couple of steps, I can take my boring lunch and just make it light years better.
And I think if there's like an element of this that you don't like, if you're like, actually the yogurt makes no sense, or I don't like this. You can always
the yogurt's cool.
You can mix things. You could change it up. You could change it completely, or you could not use one of these things. But texture variation usually people like. Acid variation usually people like, and seasoning usually people like.
Yeah. Seasoning. And the other thing is, I'm British, so we're very bland people. So
We've really just been using salt and pepper though.
So I don't really like spicy stuff, and people, I have no taste because I don't like spicy stuff. Whatever, but this is seasoned, and as I say, British people not into seasoning, but it really does improve it in a very basic way to have just a bit, even just salt and pepper.
I think that's the thing. I mean, it's sort of up to you, but in my experience, when people are like, "Oh, this thing tastes really good," I like using quite a lot of spices. That's like the food that I grew up eating. But usually when someone says, "Oh, that tastes really good," it's just because it's very well seasoned with salt and pepper. Like you season each of the elements and you season them well.
And we had lunch yesterday and we went and bought a banh mi, and one of the things that I noticed was that it was not a great. It was a tofu banh mi. It was not great. And because of what you and I had been talking about, I realized why it wasn't great. Because you go, okay, Nathan, you don't think this sandwich is very good. What is it that is not making it very good? And the answer was, like, the tofu was reasonably crispy on this nice, on very good
nice little baguette type bread,
but no seasoning. And that really detracted from it. It could have improved it so easily.
Yeah, the seasoning I think changes stuff a lot. And also, I don't know, the other thing that I think happens when you're thinking about the different flavors is that you actually start to think about what you like and what you don't. Because food seems like a black box. Like, I just don't like this banh mi. I have no idea why.
Yeah, why don't I?
But now you're like, oh, I don't like this for this particular reason, and I could change that. Because then you added salt and pepper to your banh mi and it tasted better.
It tasted better. Well, okay, but one of the other things I do is I just eat a sandwich. And the other reason is one of the reasons for that is that like a lot of stuff that you'd have on the side, like a bunch of chips, is unhealthy, right? I don't want to have a bunch of chips.
I like a bunch of chips.
I know,
but up to you.
Chips are very good. I like
New Orleans, I've been having a bunch of bags of the spicy Cajun dill and the voodoo flavor chips.
Oh yes, voodoo. Voodoo chips are
really tasty.
Local delicacy.
They're really tasty. They remind me of all dressed chips from Canada.
All dressed, which is maple syrup and
salt and vinegar and barbecue.
Okay.
Which is a normal.
No, I've tasted it. It's very good.
It's good.
It's very good, actually. Anything mapley is nice. But you have. The problem is that I really don't like salad, even though I'm a vegetarian, because the salads that I've had have been essentially either a big pile of vegetables, which I don't want to eat a pile of vegetables, or the same pile of.
That is sort of the thing about.
Yeah, I know, but or the same pile of vegetables and made to taste nice by drizzling a bunch of really greasy, gross dressing on. So you've suggested that it is possible. You think you can help me make a salad that I will enjoy.
I think I can make you a salad that you will enjoy, or at least we're gonna try it, because you've told me that you like kale well enough.
Yeah, I did like kale. I hadn't had kale before this show, but.
Well, no, we're pretending that we haven't filmed this segment yet.
What?
We've never had kale before in this show.
Well, you said you like kale.
No, I said that you told me that you liked kale. But we've never had kale on this show yet. Because this is the only time we had kale.
I know, but if I like kale, then I...
Yeah, but you said I never liked kale before this show.
Oh, I see.
Which implies that we've had kale on this show before.
I like kale.
Yes.
Yes, I like kale.
You like kale.
Yes, I like kale.
So I figured we would do a kale salad. You're eating it right now. And we're just going to use the same dressing that we used on the spinach.
Yeah, because one of our themes here has been reusing stuff, right?
So
because
chop me up some of the kale, and I would suggest, some people take out the middle because they find it too tough, but I think you told me that you don't really care. So maybe just cut off the ends.
Okay.
And then chop it up into really whatever size you'd like, but I think the
this
functional
is like
thing,
my adventure with the sweet potato.
This is your adventure with the sweet potato.
The
goal of the kale chopping is to have things that can fit in your mouth and are easy to chew. So chop it up however much
if you are a good cook and you are watching and you're going, that's not how you slice a kale.
I don't really care.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Just fuck off.
Or try slicing it this way. You might enjoy it better.
You know, well, I don't want to. No, I mean, like, I really do feel that way when everyone goes like, you know.
You want to throw that in the bowl?
I was, because I was talking about how we were going to use a pasta. I was talking about how we're going to use a pasta sauce to make the lasagna we're making tonight, and my Italian American friend buying store-bought pasta sauce, barbaric.
Look,
and I think, well,
people have opinions. I like homemade sauce better, but you were telling me that you feel like, okay, well, so I just don't get to eat if I don't make sauce?
Yeah, it's like, do I have? No, I mean, yeah, I might take an extra 10 minutes, but sometimes you don't have an extra 10 minutes, and you just like, every additional 10 minutes for a handmade thing, you know, maybe you want to make part of your meal and buy the other part. That's okay. You can do that.
And you're at a point where cooking feels so overwhelming. So why don't we like try to make it as easy as possible, and then we'll
let's start. Like, let's start with me making part of what I eat, and then progressing to me making everything, and you know.
So I'm just gonna add the rest of this.
Didn't you say we massage the kale? Didn't you mention something about massaging?
So we're gonna put the dressing on, and then we're gonna massage it
with.
Do you want to? I can massage it if you don't want to massage it. Oh,
I don't like that feeling. Oh, it's so wet.
Squeeze it a little bit harder. Really massage it.
Oh, this is a horrible feeling. Ew.
Okay, come on. It's not that
I
bad.
don't like it. I don't like it. I've never liked. I'm going to wear gloves for this.
You can. There are gloves that exist.
I'm going to buy a pair of kale gloves.
You can buy a pair of kale gloves. I'm not going to say that's a well-known thing, but this is all up to you. Okay, that looks well massaged. You've got a towel over there if you want it.
I hope so. Okay.
And then the only other thing that we're going to add is these chickpeas.
Oh yes, we roasted the chickpeas. We had these last night. You let me taste these roasted chickpeas, and we talked about how it was a pretty simple way to.
Well, because you were saying that you need a lot more protein because you're doing the weightlifting and stuff now.
Yeah.
And chickpeas are really easy and good. So all I did was I threw these in a pan.
Yeah.
In a sheet tray in the oven with salt, pepper, and oil.
Yeah, and we had them, and they were pretty good, and they were pretty crunchy.
They're crispy. They're a good snack, and then I really like them as a substitute for croutons. In a salad,
right.
So you can add some of those in. They stay crispy for a while. They're good protein.
Yeah.
And then
they were very good.
And then that's it. Although you had
one
made a really good suggestion. One of the things when we were planning
this picnic is I said, well, hang on, with this salad, could we add some of the sweet potato from last night? Because you know I chopped a big. He made me chop a giant pile of sweet potatoes. Like you can use the sweet potatoes all week, and I'm like, for what? And so I said, well, can we stick them in the salad? And you said, yeah, you can stick them in the salad.
Why not? It's totally up to you. So we can stick them in the salad. We're going to put them in.
These are our burled sweet potatoes.
And because we're adding another ingredient,
salt and pepper.
We're just going to add a little bit of salt. We're going to add a little bit of pepper because sweet potato needs some salt and pepper.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that we're going to add is these carrot greens.
Yeah, because the carrots, we have the big carrots, and it turns out that if you get the carrots most carrots that you see, they don't have the big leafy things, the big leaves on the end, but they actually taste pretty good. They kind of taste a little bit like carrot.
My favorite thing was watching you taste carrot green for the first time.
Yeah,
where you were like,
it was carroty.
Where you were like, can you eat these? And the answer is yes, you can eat them.
You can eat them, and you can put them in something, and it actually tastes like carrots.
So we're just gonna mix this together.
Okay, let's see.
And then, do you want to grab us some plates?
I can grab us some yes.
I know we have some Christmas themed plates.
We have these
were
the plates that we have. This is a
very ramshackle picnic that we have going on.
But you know what? It doesn't matter.
I don't know if we've drilled that into your heads.
It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't, if there's a Christmas tree on your plate, because that's what you had around, and it says merry and bright, you're going to cover that plate with some salad. So who cares?
We've got your salads.
Got my salad.
We got the rest of your sandwich.
I got the rest of my sandwich here.
I've already eaten mine because I was hungry.
Was this still my bit?
Yeah, that's still your bit.
Okay.
All right. And then.
do you still have that fork?
Oh, it's in the salad?
Fork is in the salad.
Well, we could trade
I
off.
want to try the. I want to try the salad.
And
So let me see. The promise that you had made was that I wouldn't hate the salad.
I think, from what you told me about what you like, I think that you won't hate the salad. And I think it's a substantive salad, too. It's not just like a pile of lettuce.
It isn't, because it's got the... it's a pretty simple dressing. It's not...
Lemon, oil, salt, and pepper. That's all you really need for a salad dressing is acid,
Right.
oil, salt, and pepper. You can add other stuff if you want. I like to add like jam or mustard or different types of vinegar, but you really don't have to.
So one of my questions for you... that is very good salad, actually. I really like. I would eat that. I will eat this salad. One of my questions for you is, okay, well, we have made the sandwich a little more complex. We have made a very basic salad that has a couple things, but so that I have a tendency to lapse back into habit. So if you've taught me to roast chickpeas, I'm just going to keep roasting chickpeas.
Right. I remember your burrito phase.
I go through phases, and I'm like, I learned how to make a quesadilla, so I'm going to eat a quesadilla every night for 6 months. Because it's easy.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what we're trying to do a little bit with this show. Before you get to your question is, I don't care if you make the same thing.
Right.
But like, you now know how to cook items in water, cook items in a pan, and cook items in the oven.
Roast them, boil them, saute them.
And you can interchange the different vegetables.
Is frying and sauteing the same thing?
Pretty much the same thing. For our purposes, it's the same thing.
But, okay.
You could mean like deep frying in oil.
Yeah,
could.
Saute is a light. Saute is
light.
when there's no. It's not like drenched in.
Yeah.
It. But fried can be like covered.
Fried could be more oil.
Okay. These are the things I don't know.
But you don't. But who cares? Pan, oven, pot.
Pan, oven, pot. Okay. So my question is, where do I go from this? How do I think about what else I could put in my salad or in my sandwich? Not necessarily more complex, because I don't want to build a 9-layer sandwich necessarily, but I do want to maybe vary my sandwich.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I would say is, think about the things that you like about the salad and sandwich and try to get things that mirror it.
Yeah.
So you could, and also think about the kind of principles that we were talking about with like seasoning, acid, and texture variation. So if you wanted, you could add, I don't know if you like radishes, you could add some sliced radishes to this that get something crunchy in there. You could add...
Can you do limes instead of lemons? Is that like a thing?
Why would you not?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you figure out, do you like lime
do I
dressing
like
or do you like lemon dressing
Or like
better?
oranges,
Yeah,
maybe?
you could totally do that. Any acid would work. A vinegar, a citrus. And then you figure out how much, what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
And if you make
I don't like the taste of vinegar very much. So, but I do like citrus a lot.
If you make a salad you don't like, so be it. It's not if it doesn't kill you, it's fine. So you could add a bunch of different roasted vegetables if you wanted to mirror the same thing.
Even if it kills you.
Is this life really worth living?
No, life is fine, but like once it's over, like what?
You don't really care.
If it killed me, it killed me.
So you could add other crispy things. You could add other roasted vegetables.
Yeah, the crispiness of that. These really are good, like little fake croutons.
To the sandwich, you could add whatever you want. It doesn't need, I know you're trying to avoid dairy, so it doesn't need to be a cheese sandwich. You could put roasted tofu in there, or a bunch of other roasted vegetables.
Because the principles we're talking about here, again, I'm trying to stay away from cheese sandwiches, but just toast the bread on the PBJ.
Yeah.
As you say, I could fry up a bunch of tofus, and I could do them. I could put the kale in the sandwich instead of in the salad. I could put the spinach in the salad instead of in the
sweet potato and put it in the sandwich if you wanted.
Ooh.
You could roast some other vegetables.
Or I could mash the sweet potato. I could saute the sweet potato. I could stick it in there for all I want.
When we made the tacos, you could just mush the beans together and make black bean burgers. Put them in the sandwich. There's a lot of different things that you could do, sort of with this same formulation of, you make sure you add seasoning. You have some dressed green. You have like something that adds some moisture to it. If those are the elements that you like in the sandwich, then try to just make sure that you're getting those different elements. But it doesn't really matter what you use for those elements.
Yeah, because you could almost like invert the things we've done with the right, the tomatoes, and you could sprinkle the cheese on the salad and put the tomatoes and the spinach in the salad, and you could take the kale and replace it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you made a bunch of dressed kale beforehand, you could use some of it for a salad. and you can use some of it to put
Right.
in a sandwich.
Right.
And you could also leave some of the stuff that you chopped undressed and saute it for a taco, or put it in,
Yeah.
a mix for a quiche or something like that.
Because we are talking here about how to make things that are, again, they're very simple. They might be ugly sometimes, but they are easy, and they also allow you to make things you can reuse, and you don't wait.
Well, because the time thing is the thing that you always told me. You're like,
timing.
but the sweet
But
potato.
now these sweet potatoes, I can keep
We
them in the
took-
fridge.
I think it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Chop the sweet potatoes, get them on the boil.
Right.
And that seemed like we were. It took longer than doing one tiny sweet potato that you needed, but it's like 3 meals worth of sweet
Right,
potatoes.
right.
So actually spending the hour and doing a
Yeah.
bunch of things at once helps you plan out in the future.
Yep. Well, you have convinced me that it is possible to eat a better lunch and a healthy lunch.
And hopefully we've convinced you.
And also, again, all this stuff is really, really cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievably cheap.
we got a bunch of stuff from the grocery store, and also like this you can use for salads into the future and for sandwiches. This you can keep. We bought. That one thing that happens that I think we talk about on the other episodes is that buying in bulk, if you have the money to do it,
Right.
does make everything much cheaper.
Right. Okay. That's a nice picnic. We
got
had
a
a nice
picnic in City
picnic.
Park. Look at
New
this park.
Orleans City Park is beautiful this afternoon. We'll see you again for dinner later on.
Dinner and maybe some dessert.
If we get ambitious.